The last great coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. It's famous for its intense door-to-door battles, blistering speeds, and of course, fiery tempers. Every year, the Bristol Night Race delivers the raw, classic short-track racing that NASCAR was built on. But one race that truly stands out for its drama and heated rivalries is the unforgettable 2002 Sharpie 500. This was Bristol at its best. The date is August 24th, 2002. The then-known NASCAR Winston Cup Series is making its 24th stop on the 2002 campaign at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. lead the field on the front row for this 500-lap attrition run at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Jeff Gordon, who was on a 31-race winless streak entering this race, was determined to turn his season around, and starting on the pole was the first step towards that goal. As the field charged out of turn 4, the night's events would be put into motion.
Junior got that jump that he wanted.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. got a strong jump, quickly pulling ahead of the 24 and into the lead. It didn't take long for the first caution to fly. On lap 5, Todd Bodine, Steve Park, and Lance Hooper were involved in a crash on the backstretch, setting an early tone of chaos for the rest of the night. Once the race restarted, Earnhardt Jr. led the field into turn 1, but only 5 laps later, another caution flew. This time, Todd Bodine spun by himself and hit the inside wall, effectively ending his night. The next 50 laps saw multiple incidents. Robbie Gordon was involved in a solo spin, then caused another crash by spinning Ricky Craven. Sterling Marlin, who was a championship contender, dragged his jack into Ricky Craven's pit box, earning him a penalty and hurting his title hopes. Elliott Sadler's night came to an early end when he was bumped by Joe Nemechek, resulting in a race-ending crash and the first sign of tempers as Sadler pointed angrily at Nemechek. After the restart on lap 76, Dale Earnhardt Jr. continued to lead, but by lap 131, Jeff Gordon made his move, taking the lead from Earnhardt Jr. and asserting himself at the front. The 6th caution flew on lap 150 when rookie Jimmy Johnson hit the wall, slowing down his car and bringing the leaders into the pits. Jimmy Spencer nearly beat Gordon off of pit road, but couldn't take the top spot, making Gordon the leader for the next restart. Once the race resumed, Jeff Gordon remained in control, but 10 laps later, another caution came out after several cars, including Scott Wimmer, Terry Labonte, and Derek Cope, ran over debris and cut tires. When the green flag dropped again, Gordon and Spencer tried to pull away from the pack, while lap traffic held up the rest of the field. Dale Earnhardt Jr. fought his way back through the field, passing Spencer for second, and on lap 247, retaking the lead from Jeff Gordon. However, just a few laps later, Gordon reclaimed the lead and dominated the next 116 laps, the longest green flag stretch of the night. This calm period ended when Steve Park spun in turn 2, bringing out the caution on lap 291. On the following restart, chaos struck again. A massive 9-car wreck unfolded when Jeremy Mayfield was turned by Dale Jarrett, collecting top 10 contenders like Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman, Mark Martin, and others. Some drivers escaped with minor damage, but others saw their nights ruined. The race restarted on lap 308, but another caution flew just 10 laps later. Ricky Craven slowed on the backstretch, and Jeff Green rear-ended him, causing significant damage to Green's car. As the field came back to the flag, Kyle Petty nearly wrecked in an attempt to get his lap back. Jeff Gordon, however, refused to give Kyle Petty the lap back, adding to Petty's frustration. The green flag came back out again, but 2 laps later, the 11th caution waved when Ryan Newman spun after being tapped by Mark Martin. Once again, Kyle Petty tried to get his lap back, but Gordon wouldn't allow it, leading Petty to express his frustration by running Gordon up the track under yellow, making this the second time tempers flared that night. And of course, the chaos didn't stop there. Another caution came out on lap 347 when Hut Strickland crashed in turn 3 after contact with Jeremy Mayfield. Strickland, who was visibly frustrated, got out of his car and waited, and then sarcastically clapped at Mayfield, bringing our temper count to 3. The field took the green flag, but yet again on lap 370, the 13th caution was triggered when Casey Atwood and Dave Blaney crashed in turn 2. This incident brought some cars to pit road, but several cars, including Johnny Benson, stayed out, making Johnny Benson the new race leader. During the caution laps coming to take the green flag, Jimmie Johnson, who was the first car a lap down, found himself being bumped repeatedly by Robbie Gordon, the second car a lap down, as Gordon aggressively tried to get his lap back.
Oh, and Jimmie Johnson gets turned right in the front of Mark Martin. John Andretti in the crash.
Gordon just got bumped.
Jeff Gordon just got, I don't know how much damage. Robbie Gordon just got the back of...
Look at this.
Robbie's getting into everybody tonight.
Not only did Robbie Gordon end the night for Mark Martin, John Andretti, and of course Jimmie Johnson, but the fact that he continued to try to punt race leader Johnny Benson in an attempt to get his lap back was pretty pathetic. But this was at a time when racing back to the line was acceptable. After the wreck, a furious Jimmie Johnson exited his car, flipped off Robbie Gordon, and then gave us this interview.
Care Center, Jimmy, Robbie is saying on his radio that you missed a shift. What happened?
Just like every form of racing he's ever been in, it's always somebody else's fault. He had me turn sideways before we even took the green. I didn't even have a chance to grab the gear. He was beating my bumper cover off me coming to the green because he wanted to restart in front of me. I'm trying to get my lap back as well, so he's just crying up a river like he always does. It's a shame. We got a chance to win the championship and we get spun out before we even take the green on a restart. It's wrong.
You can see the frustration.
This brings our temper count to number 4. NASCAR eventually handed Robbie Gordon a 2-lap penalty, but both he and team owner Richard Childress argued that Jimmie Johnson missed a gear, causing the crash.
To his team.
Robbie, they're going to come in and hold you for 2 laps.
What? Not right, because he missed the gear shift. They're going to hold me for 2 laps.
Gordon ultimately served his penalty, effectively ending his shot at the race. The race got going again on lap 388, and 1 lap later, Kurt Busch would take the lead from Johnny Benson, but the tempers were not finished. On lap 403, the 15th and final caution flew when Dale Earnhardt Jr. spun Ward Burton, sending him into a rage. Burton got out of his car, threw his heel pads at Earnhardt Jr.'s car as he drove by, and then delivered a memorable post-crash interview, and this will add the 5th mark to the temper tally.
Junior just didn't take his time. I mean, we've been giving and taking out there all day. I got some really good words for him, but I can't say it on TV, but I got to just control myself right at the moment.
You sent a nice message, though, with the throw.
I wish I had something like a shot through the window.
From this point on, the race would become a battle of pure short-track racing. Kurt Busch, who had won the spring race at Bristol, would lead until lap 434, and then a new player in Matt Kenseth would take over the lead. On lap 444, another new player in Kevin Harvick grabbed the lead and held it for the next 38 laps. However, with 22 laps to go, Rusty Wallace would pass Matt Kenseth for second, bringing Jeff Gordon with him, and then began to close in on Kevin Harvick. 3 laps later, Rusty Wallace would pass Kevin Harvick for the lead, and Jeff Gordon would follow, passing Harvick for second shortly after. With just 10 laps to go, Rusty Wallace appeared to be in control of the race, but Jeff Gordon, who had dominated the early and middle portions of this race, began to close the gap. With just 4 laps remaining, Rusty Wallace would get loose coming off of turn 2, allowing Jeff Gordon to get to his bumper, thus creating one of the most iconic moments in NASCAR history.
Up to the bumper again.
Did you hear that wheel spin, Benny? Yeah, I did hear that wheel spin.
The bump and run.
There it is.
Gordon underneath to the lead. 2 laps to go. The race got caught back in traffic after a late pit stop, but the bump and run is going to get Jeff Gordon the checkered flag and the end of the winless streak. Gordon wins the Sharpie 500 at Bristol.
Jeff Gordon finally succeeded in ending his 31-race winless streak by moving Rusty Wallace up the track with the bump and run to take the lead and never look back. Wallace tried to fight back, but Jeff Gordon would hold on and he would secure his first win of the 2002 season, with Rusty Wallace finishing in second. And of course, with a move like this, we'll have to add one last temper to our count for the night.
He just got to me where he could hit me. I was trying desperately to knock the shit out of him. I just couldn't catch him.
This Bristol night race was a masterclass in short track racing, filled with crashes, tempers flaring, and intense battles right to the very end. What are your thoughts on this race if this is your first time learning about this historic night? Did you enjoy it or not? Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate everyone's support, and I will see you in the next video.